Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Hare Krishna, welcome. We're reading Bhagavad-gita because our channel is Bhagavad-gita. Here it is, so we have Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and I'm Labanga Latika. We have come towards the end of the 6th chapter, Jnana Yoga, and Arjuna has just expressed his opinion. He's not very impressed. He's saying this seems very complicated, very difficult, and practically impossible. So now we will hear what Krishna has to say. Text 35. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asangsayang Mahabaho Mano Durnigrahang Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagena Chagrihyate. Lord Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. Purport. The difficulty of controlling the obstinate mind as expressed by Arjuna is accepted by the personality of Godhead, but at the same time he suggests that by practice and detachment it is possible. What is that practice? In the present age, no one can observe the strict rules and regulations of placing oneself in a sacred place, focusing the mind on the supersoul, restraining the senses and mind, observing celibacy, remaining alone, etc. By the practice of Krishna consciousness, however, one engages in 9 types of devotional service to the Lord. The first and foremost of such devotional engagement is hearing about Krishna. This is a very powerful transcendental method for purging the mind of all misgivings. The more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. By detaching the mind from activities not devoted to the Lord, one can very easily learn vairagya. Vairagya means detachment from matter and engagement of the mind in spirit. Impersonal spiritual detachment is more difficult than attaching the mind to the activities of Krishna. This is practical because by hearing about Krishna, one becomes automatically attached to the Supreme Spirit. This attachment is called pareshanubhava, spiritual satisfaction. It is just like the feeling of satisfaction a hungry man has for every morsel of food he eats. The more one eats while hungry, the more one feels satisfaction and strength. Similarly, by discharge of devotional service, one feels transcendental satisfaction as the mind becomes detached from material objectives. It is something like curing a disease by expert treatment and appropriate diet. Hearing of the transcendental activities of Lord Krishna is therefore expert treatment for the mad mind, and eating the foodstuff offered to Krishna is the appropriate diet for the suffering patient. This treatment is the process of Krishna consciousness. So yes, Krishna brings in a principle, and Prabhupada is explaining how it's relevant to us here and now. Because Krishna is saying some very practical words here. It is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. So first, of course, we have to kind of agree on the point in controlling the mind. If we just find it, incessant amusement by the mind coming up with different things, all right, we're not going to do yoga. But when we come to the point where we see my identity is spiritual, Satchitananda, and my mind is not agreeing with me. It's like if someone has a dog. Sometimes it's said that dog is man's best friend. I don't have a dog, so I don't have personal experience of that. But you can see that a loyal dog is always happy to see the owner, is always happy to go out for walks, do whatever the owner wants to do. But whereas a dog who is untrained will be resisting and will be violent and will be dirty and will be annoying and worse at every step. So the mind is a little bit like that. When the mind can be trained to agree with us, it becomes a very good companion. But when the mind does not agree with us, of course, if we are in so much illusion that we don't even know who we are spiritually, then we may not, there may not be a discrepancy, because then we and the mind, we both want to be in the material world. And then when somebody has already perfectly attained that level of Krishna consciousness, then the mind is also there, and then there is no problem. We, or at least I'm, a little bit in the middle. I would like to be Krishna conscious. I have come to some point where I have accepted this philosophical structure as the truth, and as also a map for my life. And also I have some experience of this Krishna. I have some experience of how serving Krishna and singing Krishna's name and engaging in activities in connection with Krishna, hearing about Krishna's activities, is the best thing in my life. But I'm not on that spontaneous level where it happens automatically all the time. And therefore, I think these instructions are very good for me. And what Prabhupada is describing here is that very strict mechanical yoga process is very difficult. And therefore, we may not be able to do it. And that's all right, because it's not the process that is recommended for this age. But when you look at this, the practice of Krishna consciousness, we're engaging in 9 types of devotional service. And the first and foremost of such devotional engagement is hearing about Krishna. This is very powerful. Purging the mind of all misgiving, the more one hears about Krishna, the more one becomes enlightened and detached from everything that draws the mind away from Krishna. And what actually happens is that when we become drawn towards Krishna, then whatever gets in the way of Krishna will become less interesting. It is not that sometimes it's like that, but in general it's not that it will be like a bitter fight with the desire, oh, I would really like to listen to my mind and my senses right now, but I can't because I decided to be religious. It's more like we have so many nice stories. There is a story with Haridas Thakur, who was at Lord Chaitanya's time. He was with Lord Chaitanya and he stayed in Jagannath Puri, and he chanted Krishna's name all the time. Our tradition, our present, regulation is we have this Hare Krishna mantra: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And we chant it on beads. Each bead, there are 108 beads, and each bead we chant the Hare Krishna mantra. And for a person who has taken initiation, has promised to chant at least 16 rounds every day. And that's something between 1.5 hours, 2 hours, something like that, if you're able to do it at a good focus time. So Haridas Thakur chanted a lot more than that. He chanted, I think we say that he chanted 4 times 64 rounds. So that would take up most of your day and most of your night also, and leave maybe a few hours for sleeping and eating. So he did that not because somebody forced him to, but he did that because he was so drawn to Krishna. He saw Krishna in that name, he experienced Krishna in that name, and then it becomes possible. So at one point, one of the local landlords became upset that he was so respected and appreciated. He wanted to create some disturbance, so he was sending a prostitute there. He asked her, can you go there and get this man off his elevated spiritual platform, attract him, draw him away from that. She said, okay, I'll do that. So she went there, and Haridas Thakur, she approached him and asked him to come and enjoy with her. And Haridas Thakur was very polite, and he said, I would very much like to fulfill your desires, but I have taken this vow to do my recitation of Krishna's name. So I have to finish that first. So you can please sit here and wait. So he chanted and he chanted and he chanted and he chanted. And the evening turned to night, turned to morning. He was still chanting, and she kind of felt, okay, we didn't get there today, but she came back the next day, and she came back the day after that. And after sitting there and hearing Krishna's name for such a long time, she became touched by that also. She became attached, drawn to Krishna, and she felt very bad about trying to disturb Lord Haridas Thakur in his vow and in his devotion. So Krishna consciousness is like that. It gives a certain taste, and the more we experience that reality, that state of mind, that opening up of the heart, then that's what we want. So then if something else comes in that's, that's an obstacle. It's like Prabhupada gives sometimes the example, if we want to light the fire, we can do that if we have some wood and some kindling and some source of the fire to add there. But if we pour water on it, it will make it much more difficult. So if we don't know so much about fire, then maybe we don't know that we should, put some kind of something, if we're out in the rain, we will cover the fire in some sense, or I don't know. I don't know, very often make fire outside in the rain. But if we don't know it, we will just struggle and we will get a lot of smoke. But if we know about it, of course we're not going to pour water on the fire. We're not stupid. And if we know that our Krishna consciousness becomes, it becomes an obstacle, certain activities, certain, activities of the mind and the senses, then because we have more of a desire for Krishna, we have more of an attachment towards Krishna, then giving up these lesser things is not a problem. It's like, if we're thirsty and there's nothing there but maybe some water from the lake with little, some bits of a grass or sand in it and not very tasty, but it will quench our thirst. And then if somebody offers us pure, clear, fresh water, it will not be very difficult to put this other water aside, because we have something that satisfies our needs and is much more attractive. So Krishna is like that. Krishna is much more attractive. And here it says, it's just like the feeling of satisfaction a hungry man has for every morsel of food that he eats. The more one eats while hungry, the more one feels satisfaction and strength. So devotional service is like that. It's not just a strict process where we have to give up things because someone tells us to do it. It is a process where we can actually realize that this is where I belong, and therefore it will become more and more easy to give up these things that are unhelpful. And in the beginning, maybe it is a little bit difficult, and then we have to use our intelligence. But after a while, it becomes a natural thing. But we may still have to practice what Krishna says here, suitable practice and by detachment. And by detachment we mean that the other things that are not connected to Krishna, they become less important, so they will be easy. Just like I still have my nice ginger tea that I drink to keep my voice working throughout the speaking here. And if someone would give me a cup of water full of sand instead, I would have no difficulty giving it up, because it's not the same, it's not as good. So when we have Krishna, then we will find nothing else is as good as Krishna. So we will continue with that. This treatment is the process of Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much. Also, I want to point out that I have some links in the little box beneath where you can find your own Bhagavad-gita, where you can find Hare Krishna temple also. And if there are any questions or comments in connection with what we found here in the Bhagavad-gita, please leave them below and I'll come back to them. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.